Hey, welcome to Car and Driver. I'm Carlos Lago.
And I'm Tony Quiroga.
And we're going to talk about Tony's experience driving this year at Lightning Lap, which is what, like your 11 billionth Lightning Lap?
It's 11th or 12th.
11th or 12th. That's a lot of laps.
Maybe
at Lightning
13th.
Lap.
I don't know.
Where does it rank? Where did
track.
this year rank on like the memorableness?
Well, this year was interesting because I had been driving really fast stuff.
Yeah.
The high horsepower stuff. And I've started to back away from that a little bit. And let some of the other drivers do the really fast stuff that takes a lot more concentration, a lot more time to get up to speed.
A lot more work.
Yeah, and so, yeah, totally. And I decided to do 3 cars that are, all transverse engine, all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, and they all have manual gearboxes. And I don't think I'd driven a car with a manual gearbox at Lightning Lap in 5 or more years.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
So everything had been automatic. They do the upshifts for you. Often, if they're calibrated well, they'll do the downshifts for you. So under braking, and you're always in the right gear.
Yeah.
It's one less thing to think about.
Yeah.
But man, did I have to shift a lot this year.
Especially with the Civic Type R, which we'll get to. Your first car, which was the Hyundai Elantra N. What are your expectations for this going into it?
So the Elantra N, I have the other 2 front-wheel drive or transverse engine cars in the GR Corolla and the Civic Type R, but the Elantra N costs a bit less, has a little less power. So that often makes it, that'll make a car a little less threatening, and that's exactly what it was. It doesn't have the absolute grip of the other 2 cars. The brakes held up really well until the tires got hot, and unfortunately, it only came with 1 set of tires. Right. Then they were already scrubbed in from some track use. So I never got to lap it on fresh tires. I never got to lap it on fresh rubber. We never got to swap the tires out. So I ended up when I was practicing with this car, I didn't abuse it too much. I didn't push too hard just because I wanted to maintain the tires because we didn't think we were going to have replacements. We did order replacements, so they just showed up too late.
We talked about this a bit with Dave Vanderwerp and his experience. We go into much greater detail there, but basically sometimes stuff happens and you can't control what you can't control. We don't like it when it happens, but nevertheless, we still want to show you the lap times that we see here. I hear this car beeping a lot. What's happening?
Oh, I don't know.
It might be a shift indicator or
stability control. Oh, it's the shift indicator.
It's shift indicator.
That's
okay.
exactly what it is, Carlos. Sorry.
That's cool.
I haven't driven this in a few months, so I can't remember. But yeah, I was just waiting to hear the shift indicator. To shift. And shifter's terrific. Really light throws. I don't think I ever really missed a shift with this car. I did miss a shift with the GR Corolla a few times because I just found myself in a weird spot in between gears. But yeah, this car is super easy to drive. There's not a ton of front end grip, especially relative to the Type R, but it also makes it a lot less threatening. I mean, you just get understeer if you go in too fast. If you add power too early, you just get understeer. So it just requires some patience, and probably wouldn't have to be as patient if the tires were fresh and I had more grip, but that's just what it did. And I was a bit disappointed that the Kona N on fresh tires beat this car out so handily.
I mean, it shows the importance of fresh, high grip
and
tires.
I think I could have picked up another 2 or 3 seconds and beaten the Kona N for sure.
Yeah, getting closer to the heels of the GR Corolla and Civic Type R for sure.
Yeah,
That
and this car on the straight, it pulled 133 something, 133.9, which is basically what the other 2 cars pulled. Those over 300 horsepower cars pulled.
That indicates the power it has and the speed it can reach, just the shortcomings in grip. I mean, that affects
exactly.
your braking, that affects your cornering, and
exactly.
they do so much of that on this track.
But it costs, $12,000 to $20,000 less than the other 2.
Remarkable.
Yeah, it's a huge sum of money. I mean, this is a $34,000 car.
Yeah. It's a fun car too.
Oh my God, it's so fun. It's such a hooligan.
Yeah. It's again a shame that it's so low in the lap rankings here because it doesn't really show how much fun it is to drive.
Yeah, we'll try to bring it back next year and see what it does. But yeah, it's super controllable. The steering's good. My settings are typically lighter steering efforts because I don't want to work that hard. VIR has a bunch of really bumpy sections, so I backed off on the dampers too. Just give it a little bit more compliance.
That happened with a number of cars too, the Kona as well, where we ended up backing off the race settings because the bumps and whatnot are just
it upsets the car under braking, it upsets the car even under cornering, and if you hit a curb, it upsets the car. And you know, a little bit more softer damper just lets the wheel travel a little more easily.
Nobody wants an upset car.
Nobody wants an upset car.
Vehicle number 2 is the Toyota GR Corolla Morizo edition. Morizo.
I don't know. You know, little 3-cylinder peaky power plant, super short gearing is part of the Morizo package. You also get a Cup 2, and I think it's 10 or 20 millimeters wider than the standard car.
Wow, okay.
Maybe it's 10 millimeters wider. I can't recall.
The grip and turn one is just so evident
it's insane.
on these tires. Yeah.
And what's funny is, especially compared to the Type R, you feel like the center of gravity is slightly higher.
Yeah.
But you have this massive amount of grip from the Cup 2s. You can also just chuck it into the corner as hard as you want. The car's very forgiving. It doesn't do anything silly or stupid. It never feels like it's going to bite you. If it does start breaking away, everything happens sort of in slow motion. You can catch it easily. The steering is just fantastic. Damping is pretty stiff, and it's not adjustable.
That's right.
I caught myself out in the uphill S's once, trying to do it flat, and not this left, but this right transition over the curbing. The car got airborne, and I had 2 tires up in the air. So after that, and I didn't make the corner. I just had to go straight through the grass, which the car was happy about. It didn't care. It's a part rally car. But anyway, yeah, like the damping is very stiff, and you feel that under braking where a car becomes slightly unsettled. You feel it when you upset the chassis by really knocking into the curbs. But for the most part, if you're sliding it, if you're going in too fast, such a forgivable and wonderful car.
We have a great photo of this thing on 2 wheels.
Yeah, it's in the issue.
It's terrific. It's such a good photo. And it's remarkable. I was looking at the G meter on the bottom right there. I was just gauging the difference in entry speed between this and the Hyundai, and this just looks so much faster because of those tires.
Yeah,
Did you
tons
know
of grip.
These were apparently the only Cup 2 or Cup tires for the GR Corolla in existence
In
at this point?
existence, yeah. They actually had 2 sets. They had, but it was supposedly for another event, but they ended up putting it on our car. Anyway,
Yeah,
so I was happy about that.
Yeah, the tech told me, it's like, these are the only ones, not just like that we have, that Toyota has, period.
Yeah, period, that exist on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, another hilarious thing is it has Toyota's equivalent of the OnStar system.
Yes.
So under massive G loading, if you hit a curb or whatever, I would guess if you exceed 2.5 G, it would think you were in an accident, so it kept calling the police. And eventually a sheriff did show up to the track.
Who was not happy.
Yeah, he wanted to know what was going on and why this was happening.
Yeah, exactly.
And Toyota eventually was able to disable it.
And they also said it wouldn't be as aggressive in production, right?
Yes, they wanted to fix it for production. I had conversations with them afterwards about what happened, and they don't want this to happen to customers. This is a prototype car that we're driving, a very late prototype car, but representative in powertrain, power, and chassis.
This is a really, just like the Hyundai, but this is just everything turned up a bit more. It's a really aggressive, really fun car. It's remarkable that Toyota has built it and selling it here.
That's not a fun shift that I just did coming out of there, because you're at redline, basically at the apex, and you got to make that upshift. And also the shift knob is kind of like a little awkward and large. Yeah. And it has like a little lip that really hurt my hand. I got these soft rider's hands.
Did you get a little boo-boo while driving your Toyota GR Corolla? But all in all, that was a really fun lap. So you just did the GR Corolla. We're about to jump in the Civic Type R. So obviously that much is quicker. Going into this, what did you think the difference would be between the GR Corolla and the Civic Type R?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So the GR has the advantage of all-wheel drive. The Type R obviously doesn't, but it's got a pretty wonderful trick front differential.
Yeah.
The GR Corolla has a little bit less tire. I was shocked when I realized that the Type R is on 265s all the way around.
Right.
It's a square 265 setup. And you see that really in the grip levels. The Corolla feels a little higher. It feels more like you're driving, not a minivan, but it just feels like the CG is just about 1.5 inches, 2 inches higher than it is in the Type R. You sit a bit lower in the Type R. So I don't know how much of it came down to comfort. I don't know how much came down to tires, but yeah, they were right on each other the entire time, with the GR Corolla always trailing it by about a half second to a second. So I wasn't surprised that the Type R beat it, but I don't know. The right lap like a slightly bad lap in a Type R and a great lap in a GR, you flip it.
Let's see the Civic Type R's lap. You're doing a lot of shifting in this car.
A lot of shifting. I was doing a lot of shifting in the GR as well.
Did this have more shifts?
They're both, I don't remember how many shifts they were. It felt like 40 shifts a lap, which is insane. That's an insane amount of shifting.
Were these buckets noticeably different than the Corollas? Or
They both had terrific seats. They both had really great seats, really great seating positions. In the Corolla, like I said, you sit sort of a little bit higher. The IP is a little higher. The cowl's a little higher. This is more of a sports car, sports sedan seating position. But yeah, the shifter on this one is nice, and it's got the nice metal shifter.
This is a terrific shifter.
It's an amazing shifter.
Not just for front drive cars, just like on sale today, it's a terrific shifter.
And the settings I used in this car, again, I turned the dampers down from their highest setting just because it was just too stiff. It would get unsettled under braking. You can hear the shift
indicator.
The shift warning. Yeah, the shift warning indicator as I'm hitting the red line.
This is a sweet car.
Yeah, this is an amazing car. I was really blown away by it. And the old one, we tested the LM version, which had Cup 2s like this car. Not as wide, but Cup 2s. And it was just over 3 minutes. And then this one, it was the first front driver to go under 3 minutes and set a new front drive record for lightning lap.
I think well deserved. And, going between this and the GR Corolla, again, you called out it says more tire on it, essentially. It's larger size. Also, a little bit more power. Slightly lower weight too, and that just all those things just incrementally add up over the course of a lap.
And it's a larger engine. I mean, it's a 2-liter versus the Corolla's 1.6, so it's not quite as peaky. You don't have to work it quite as hard. But most of the time you're above as we're driving on the track, we're above the torque peak anyway.
A slightly broader power band as 3-cylinder and 4-cylinders go, right? Yeah, especially turbocharged ones.
The gearing isn't quite as insanely short, but still, you're making a lot of shifts.
Doing some quick shifts too.
Oh yeah. And both offer rev matching for heel-toe downshift if you're not comfortable doing your own heel-toe downshifts. I found the Corolla GR brake pedal to be just slightly too far away from the accelerator. My feet are kind of small, so I was using it. And it also just gives you a little more stability on the brake pedal.
Were you using rev match for the Civic Type R?
I don't remember. Maybe I was. Maybe I wasn't. I don't know. I can't recall.
How do you approach it? Do you typically turn it on if you need it, or do you turn it off if you don't like it?
I almost always like it on the track. I mean, it just makes your life a little bit easier. Mm-hmm. You can just, instead of, you can really commit to the brake pedal.
Yeah.
You don't have to sort of, hit part of the brake pedal. So it just makes your life a little bit easier. I mean, I'm happy to do, it took me a long time to stop heel-toe downshifting because I'm so used to it. But once you break the habit of it, you find that the systems are really pretty well done.
Until one day you hop in a car that doesn't have it, you try to make a big downshift.
Well,
things go bad real quick. Not that I speak from experience or anything. And across the line. I got to say, though, coming up, your celebration at the end of this was one of my favorites.
I was pretty excited. I mean, no front driver had gone under 3 minutes. So.
Did you have this queued up, ready to go?
No, this is just whatever came up on Spotify. Are you allowed to? Can you play 15 seconds of it?
We're going to find out, because this is worth it.
Yeah, lightning lap's a little stressful. So when something fun like that happens and you actually, get a car across the line in a good time, it feels pretty good.
What track was that, just in case the audience at home wants to know?
It's Machine Gun by the Commodores.
Yeah. So you didn't have it ready to go or anything?
No, I didn't have it ready to go. Although it's, the song itself is it's like in the 2:30 minute. It's 2 minutes 30 something. So I always wanted to take one of the 230 cars, like a 230 car, like a ZR1, and do a lap
in the entire.
Yeah, do the whole
That's
song.
a good plan. Maybe for next year.
Well, if we can get the rights.
Hear that, Commodore's licensees? Expect a call? I don't know. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more, be sure to check the links around this video, and we'll see you next time. I'm going to sync audio here. I'm going to sync your audio. Those are some bad claps.
Okay. You didn't go to clapping camp.
You record. I did not go to clapping camp.
That's 3 years at clapping camp.
What is clapping camp? How did you learn how to clap that well?
It's just a gift.
You sit at home at night and just...
You better not use any of this.